In 1969, Dr. Donald Goodwin gathered a group of study participants and asked them to each regard the objects he'd shown them to misfire. The twist, all the participants were very intoxicated. Despite this, most could pay attention to the task and correctly name the toy they had just seen. Yet, when Donald asked them to recall the object a mere 30 minutes later, half the participants drew a blank, having blacked out the earlier moment entirely. This study illustrates the strange and somewhat selective effects alcohol has on the brain. Many intoxicated people can perform complex tasks like holding a detailed conversation or navigating a walk home. Yet, for those experiencing what is known as a blackout, the memory of these events is quickly forgotten. So how does alcohol cause these memory lapses? First, let's identify the culprit. While a single drink often contains hundreds of different chemical compounds, ethanol is responsible for alcohol's effect on the brain. Ethanol is a lightweight and lipophilic, meaning its structure easily dissolved into fats, like those in the membrane of the outer blood-brain barrier. Once into the brain, ethanol's unique structure allows it to bind to, interact, and affect many different neural receptors, impairing pathways that allow you to make careful decisions, control your impulses, and even manage your motor skills, and networks that control your memory seem to be especially sensitive to alcohol's effects. Typically, information about your surroundings is taken in by your sensory organs and sent to the brain. Neurons transfer this information to one another via chemical messengers called neurotransmitters, which are released by one neuron and received by a receptor at another. When a neurotransmitter binds to a receptor, it unlocks the internal channel, allowing a small ion to flow into the cells. If enough ion enters the cells, the neuron fires, sending the signals forward. Through this process, different regions of the brain can communicate with one another in milliseconds, creating a moment-to-moment understanding of the world. But ethanol interacts with receptors, making it harder for neurons to communicate. While compromised, the brain is still able to transfer information, which is why many intoxicated people seem somewhat capable of performing basic tasks. In other words, brain function is highly impaired, but not completely broken. But memory storage is a different story. The transfer of moment-to-moment understanding to something we can remember is thought to depend on the process called long-term potentiation, or LTP. LTP happens throughout the brain, but is especially important in learning memory regions, like a neocortex and hippocampus. During LTP, the firing of a neuron triggers physical changes to its structure. For example, more receptors may be moved to the cell surface, making the neuron more sensitive to future signaling from its neighbors. These physical changes increase the likelihood that the cell will fire again at the connection, strengthening the binding between neurons. And through this stronger connection, it's thought that a stable memory is formed. Yet studies suggest that ethanol has a unique ability to disrupt LTP, blocking the physical changes needed for memory formation. So while moment-to-moment information is coded and understood, the storage of the information is blunted, resulting in the blackout. Of course, not all levels of drinking result in blackout. They happen when the concentration of alcohol in the blood, or BAC, exceeds a certain level, approximately 0.16. But there's no magic number. A slightly lower BAC's burnouts or spotty memory of events can occur, as some neurons continue to function properly while others fail. And drinking too much can cause a person to pass out altogether. Other factors like dehydration level, genetic differences, medications, even how you be eaten, can affect the likelihood of blackout. In teenagers appear to be especially vulnerable due to the substantial changes in the brain development during those years. Alcohol's short-term effects usually don't last longer than the time it takes for the body to metabolize it, or about a day. But repeatedly over-drinking can damage a neuron and permanently impair memory. It can also harm other organs, like the liver, which works overtime breaking down alcohol. After all, experiencing a blackout or witnessing others in this compromising state can be a lot for your mind and body to process.